searching for clues. Tonight, police combed the banks of the Thames after a human skull was found.
It was trying to find more material and to get a better understanding of the context in which we found the skull.
A drug trafficking investigation in Stratford nets more than a couple $100,000 worth of drugs. Some of it found just steps away from the police station.
The Donnelly massacre was a dark day for Lucan, so why is the community building a Donnelly museum? Tonight, why residents say it's time to accept the tragedy as part of the town's history.
I'm not one that wants to sensationalize it, but I think it's important that we tell the story right.
Paul's making a little pad thai noodles for a taste for life. Show you how to do it because the money's going to the AIDS Committee of London.
This is 8 Channel News at 6.
Good evening. There was a heavy police presence along the Thames River in London today after a human skull was found.
And Lama Nicola spent most of the day with police. She joins us now from Greenway Park. Lama.
Dan, I'm not too far from where the skull was found. The investigation is being headed by the Major Crimes Unit. Police are conducting an exhaustive search, trying to find something that fits. Inch by inch, police search the ground and the water near the Thames River.
So what they're trying to do is trying to find more material and to get a better understanding of the context.
Anthropology expert Andrew Nelson is working with police to better understand the story behind the bones. A passerby stumbled on this human skull Tuesday afternoon, returned home and called police. The area has been cordoned off since. The difficulty now lies in trying to figure out where the skull came from. It's being tested at the London Health Sciences Centre.
We have to clean up the skull, then we'd x-ray it, and what you want to find out is what the age of the individual is, what the sex of the individual is, anything you can tell about ancestry. Did they have any diseases or anything else like that?
There are cemeteries close by, but the closest one is downstream. At this point, there are no known ancient burial sites, but experts say this area is archaeologically rich.
The fact that we're on the banks of the river and we're near the forks of the Thames, there's a tremendous amount of history here. It would be a great place to camp if you're First Nations person or even in a historical period.
Nelson believes the skull is less than 300 years old. Part of the police investigation will involve taking a look at missing persons, though it's still not known if the skull washed down the river from an area outside of London. And that's why police are scouring for other body parts.
As of this point, we have not located anything, and we will be assessing for further searching in the area.
Now we're told police will continue the search tonight and possibly into tomorrow. Now, contrary to what you might see on TV, results from this kind of testing are not instant. It could take some time, especially if DNA testing is involved. So for now, more work is needed to shed some light on this very baffling discovery. Dan?
All right, so thanks, Lama. Well, if that wasn't enough, a stolen car was also dragged out of the Thames this morning. The fire department's marine unit helped tow truck operators fish out this neon out of the river just off Wellington near the Old Vic Hospital. Nobody was inside the car. Police think it was stolen and likely dumped there.
A 40-year-old London man is facing 5 counts of internet luring tonight. Darcy Pearson of Frobisher Crescent was arrested on Monday. The London Police Cybercrime Unit says it began its investigation earlier this month.
And new information tonight about the death of a Harriston teenager who passed away after falling from a friend's treehouse. Happened 2 Saturdays ago. 16-year-old Sean Ferris bled to death after falling on a small knife. Police have now confirmed Ferris was actually holding that knife in his hand when he fell. The police investigation is now complete and charges will not be laid.
London City Council has been singing its own praises in recent years over its ability to hold the line on tax increases, but those days may be done. Jerry Dewan was at today's Board of Control meeting, and Jerry, it looks like some tough decisions are going to have to be made.
Yes, Kathy, today was Finance Minister Vic Cote's annual ritual, warning of the challenges coming up in the city budget. But this time, tough economic times, high gas prices, and the loss of funding from the province has put the city behind the economic 8-ball. For a council committed to holding tax increases to the cost of living, Vic Cote painted a grim picture, and the budget chief says it could be a rough ride.
We may have to make some very tough decisions on that will not be provided in the future until we get our financial stability back.
The bottom line, council is looking at a 3.1% tax hike for next year, before even starting to discuss the usual long list of programs and services that will be on the table. It also doesn't include education taxes and sewer and water rates. which for this budget year helped push the increase to taxpayers to almost 4%. Controllers Bud Polhill and Gord Hume argue sewer and water rates should be separated out, treated like other utilities such as phone service, cable, and hydro.
People can influence how much that charge is depending on the usage. That's why it's set up that way. They can also affect the impact of hydro, how much electricity they use in their homes. These are decisions people make.
Deputy Mayor Tom Gosnell says the difference is the city sets the rates for sewer and water and determines the level of service, and so there's a different level of accountability.
To suggest that we're not accountable and not responsible for the impact of sewer water rates on your property, in my view, is wrong.
The real elephant in the budget room is the expected pushback from boards and commissions and emergency services, which account for about 1/3 of every municipal tax dollar spent. Cote has set modest budget targets, including a 4% increase for police. Both Hume and Mayor Anne-Marie DeSico-Best sit on the Police Services Board, and both balked at committing to holding the line at 4% for police budget talks, with DeSico-Best saying emergency services budgets face unique challenges.
It's the arbitration process that has a major impact, as we all know, in terms of the kinds of contracts that we pay right across this province for that level of service. And unless that changes, or unless additional funding is provided to help us deal with those realities, emergency services, protective services will always continue to be one of the biggest areas of any budget anywhere within this province.
This spring, the city will take a hard look at what services they'll deliver and how they'll be delivered, with the goal of finding savings. That means some programs may be at risk. Kathy?
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on this one. Thanks, Jerry.
And Londoners will gather tonight to talk about ideas for a proposed new museum.
Having something that is of interest to not only just London, but around the world will be important. So that's our goals.
And former City Councillor Joe Swan is part of the London Legacy Project. It was formed to build upon the Guy Lombardo Museum, which is facing closure. The proposed new venue would celebrate the achievements of Londoners in several different fields. Swan says it could cost as much as $7.5 million, and tonight's meeting is being held at the Civic Garden Complex. Swan says it'll help him gauge how much interest there is in preserving London's past.
So we've invited over 100 organizations, and we're anticipating about 30 or 40 different folks from different walks of life will join us. And I can't say the story strong enough. It's about working with your existing assets. Make them stronger. Don't create something new that weakens them.
A Mexican justice official is defending the conviction against Canadian Brenda Martin, saying the evidence clearly shows she's guilty. But as Tony Grace reports, that's not what Martin's friends and family believe.
If somebody tells you you're guilty of something you haven't done, it's a hard pill to take.
Brenda Martin's family and friends are still lashing out in disbelief over her guilty verdict, convicted of being part of her former boss's fraud scheme despite proclaiming her innocence.
There's nothing that ties her to this crime that we find her guilty? Unbelievable.
Even more confusing is why she can't be brought back to Canada now to serve her sentence, despite the fact that there's a transfer agreement in place. Conservative Cabinet Minister Jason Kenney is heading to Guadalajara on Friday to find out what's going on.
He wants to inspect the well-being of Brenda, and second, to inform her that the government of Canada is going to do everything in its power to bring her back to Canada and reunite her with her family as soon as possible.
Under Mexican law, a mandatory 5-day appeal period has to pass before a prisoner transfer can take place, even though in this case, both Martin and Mexican prosecutors have signed a transfer agreement. The Canadian government is promising to do what it can to speed things up.
Minister Day has really lit a fire in his department and said, get this done as quickly as possible. However, the Mexican government also has to sign off, and that could be the big question mark in terms of the timetable.
Still, Martin's friends remain encouraged about Kenney's visit.
And I think that's a very encouraging sign. In my conversations with Jason Kenney, he strikes me as a no-nonsense kind of guy, so that's definitely encouraging.
Whenever she is transferred back to Canada, Martin's 5-year sentence will somehow be converted by Corrections Canada into a sentence to be served here. And there are suggestions that she may receive enough credit for time already served to avoid spending time behind bars here in Canada. But when that decision will be made is the big question mark. In Ottawa, Tony Grace, A Channel News.
It was on to Indiana and the next primary for Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton today. Clinton still celebrating after last night's victory in Pennsylvania.
The voters of Pennsylvania decided by an overwhelming majority that they could count on me. They could count on me to deliver for them.
Well, political observers said Clinton had to win Pennsylvania by at least 10 points, and that's exactly what she did. That victory pulled her closer to frontrunner Barack Obama for the Democratic nomination. Even though Clinton remains very much in the race, Obama today focused his attention on Republican candidate John McCain.
When John McCain suggests, as he did last week, that he had looked over the Bush economic record and he thought that we had made great progress. That's 4 more years that we can't afford.
Well, the states of Indiana and North Carolina both hold their Democratic primaries May 6th.
Just one day before the Perth County Methamphetamine Task Force unveils its plans to fight drugs this year, Stratford police are saying they've dealt a significant blow to the area's dealers. They've seized more than $200,000 worth of drugs and arrested 8 Stratford residents. Sarah McGrath has the details.
Drugs, cash, and weapons. It's a trio often found together. This is the outcome of Project Cranked, a 5-month drug trafficking investigation by the Stratford police.
The purpose behind this project is to eliminate or get as much meth off the streets in the city of Stratford as possible.
Undercover officers raided 5 residences across the city. One of them, apartment 3 at 106 Downey Street, is literally right next door to the police station.
The old adage is when you're looking for something, it's hard to find it when it's under your nose. But in this case, we did know it was there, and it actually made things a lot easier for us to deal with this problem.
In this home on Graham Crescent, police found a marijuana grow operation and they seized about 100 plants. They also found processed marijuana inside and value what they found at this home at $120,000. Other drugs seized include cocaine, ecstasy, prescription painkillers, and crystal meth, a highly addictive drug that sells for about $110 a gram on Stratford streets.
It takes 1/10 of a gram of methamphetamine to become addicted to that drug. So as you can see, it's a very potentially addictive drug that will cause problems in the future if we don't do something about it.
Some of it was well concealed. One man had crystal meth hidden in an inner pocket of a leather belt. 8 people have been arrested and charged with 90 drug-related offenses, many of them for trafficking. Police are unable to release names at this point and say there are still 4 more suspects to be arrested. In Stratford, Sarah McGrath, A-Channel News.
And provincial police in Grey County can't say for sure, but admit it's possible 2 swans found dead in a Meaford cemetery were killed by an animal. The birds were discovered yesterday in and around the Lakeview Cemetery. Police say a puncture wound on the first swan could have been from a weapon, but admit it also could have come from an animal.
A mother in Grand Rapids, Michigan wanted to teach her 13-year-old son about the consequences of lying. So Rebecca Velasco took some radical action, as you're about to see. She made Brandon Willman stand on a street corner holding that sign. It says, "I can't stop lying to my mom. I think she's too stupid to find out, but I keep getting caught." Well, Brandon's mom says he lies about his homework and other things, adding she had to try something different because grounding him wasn't working.
She put me out here on the corner, making me hold up a sign that says, "I lied to my mom," and she wants to teach me a lesson. It's really humiliating.
Well, Brandon's mom counters by saying he gets too many privileges to continue to treat her the way he does.
They're worried about flooding in New Brunswick tonight. Water levels have been on the rise for several days, pushing the St. John River over its banks in the Fredericton area. Some homes downriver from the New Brunswick capital are tonight surrounded by water. Record amounts of melting snow combined with rain in the forecast have emergency measure officials predicting the situation is only going to get worse.
Well, yeah, weather problems east and west. As for the situation here, Jay, so far so good.
Fairly gentle as far as we're concerned. And of course, in that east coast, with all of the snow that they have had this winter, you start to melt that off, and as we were mentioning, looking for a little bit of rain, not a whole lot, but some rain through Atlantic Canada that could certainly make that worse. We're hoping to get a little bit of rain in our area, but we didn't get too much last night. We did have a couple of showers, even a thunder shower that was reported in through the Bruce Peninsula. Current temperatures across the area, though, with a fair amount of sunshine across the region. 13 in through the Wyerton area, 17 to 18 to 20 as we come a bit further to the south. If you happen to be close to the lake and the wind is coming in off the lake, then the temperature is just a little bit lower. However, with that flow coming from the north, even though you're close to the lake and the flow is from the north as it is in Erio, 19 degrees at the present time. So we take a look at just what is going on. We do have that low pressure system and the front. As I say, it did have a couple of showers along it, but not too many. That is eased off to the east. We do have the high pressure building in. We do have another system that actually has several little waves along it, at least along the front, that we do expect that will be coming across our area. It's not even all that cold behind it, although if we head out to the prairies, yep, as Dan was mentioning, it is certainly cool out there, but we can find 20s not only in our area, but off to the west, even to the west of Lake Michigan. As you can see, temperatures still in through the mid-20s. The precipitation I talked about there are the scattered showers that are heading towards the east, the clear skies, and with the next front, well, a couple of little showers that are showing up on the radar, but certainly not too many. As far as overnight tonight is concerned, we'll be looking for comparatively clear skies, 4 to 5 to 6 degrees overnight. Fair amount of sunshine with the high tomorrow, 20 to 21 degrees right across the whole area. In London, down to 5 overnight tonight with a light breeze out of the north to 10 kilometers an hour, northeast to 10 first thing in the morning. We'll be looking for 8 degrees at that point, just a couple of clouds. And even in the afternoon, just a couple of clouds around, up to 21 degrees with the wind out of the southeast to 15 kilometers an hour. Now, we do have a little more unsettled weather on the 7-day planner. That means a chance of showers. We'll take a look at that later, Dan and Kathy.
All right, thank you, Jay.
It's a history they'd rather forget about, but are instead being forced to embrace. Tonight, how Lucan plans to remember the family that helped put the tiny town on the map.
It's very, very simple. It's extremely inexpensive.
Coming up on Health at Home, detecting breast cancer may soon be done at the dentist.
And a deadly rampage in India. The number of people killed by that out-of-control elephant during a ceremony inside a Hindu temple.
The richest soil, Canada's best climate for growing. It's all right here in Ontario. Family farms bring us green fields for fresh air, healthy food, and even renewable energy. Farmers support our environment and economy. That's why we need to recognize the value of our farms. Find out how you can help keep farmers farming. Visit growourfarms.ca to find out more, because the future of the land is in our hands.
Chandler's Men's and Ladies Apparel, Wonderland at Commissioners.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Hawaii Cass. I'm here for another showbiz. We're at Riley's Furniture Express, where we're going to tell you a little bit about furniture trends. Plus, we've got that $100 gift certificate to give away, but you've got to watch showbiz during Wheel of Fortune to win.
This spring, Zeros are everywhere during Mazda's Get It In Gear event. Zeros that tell you we're geared for our new economy with low financing on the CX-7 crossover SUV and Mazda CX-9, 2008 Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year. With 0% purchase financing for up to 60 months on any new 2008 Mazda, springtime is the best time to.
It's the Step Into Spring sale on now at London's Flooring Canada. Save up to 50% on items throughout the store. 16-inch Baja ceramic tile, 50% off. Hunt Club and Artcraft laminate flooring, 50% off. Premium Stainmaster undercushion, 50% off. With the Step Into Spring sale, there's no reason to wait. Hurry in to London's Flooring Canada with 2 London locations.
With you every step of the way.
Closed captioning for this program is brought to you by Bathfitter. Bathfitter will install a new acrylic tub and seamless wall right over your old one in just one day. Visit our showroom for great promotional events.
A London City Hall employee raffle could prove controversial. City controllers today received a report that would give a winning employee a week of paid vacation at taxpayers' expense. Brian Bicknell joins us live with those details. Brian.
Well, Kathy, the report comes at a time when City Hall is mired in controversy over a high rate of absenteeism among city employees. It came from City Manager Jeff Fielding and had to do with raising money for the new Let Them Be Kids Employees Playground project. Last fall, community volunteers and city workers joined forces to clean up Adelaide Wells Park in North London and install new playground equipment. Now they raised $22,500. The municipality funded another $6,500. In addition, Fielding approved 1 week of staff vacation to be raffled off. An estimated cost of $1,500. Controllers were told today existing staff would cover the missing workers' duties. Controller Gina Barber, who we spoke with moments ago, says she understood no overtime will be incurred. Now, Fielding's report calls the investment in the new playground modest. City planners last year estimated the real cost to be about $60,000. It goes for council approval on Monday, and there may be further questions about holding such a raffle while city managers grapple with issues of absenteeism. Kathy.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
For over 100 years, residents in Lucan simply didn't want to talk about the Donnelly massacre. Now, not only will the community talk about the incident, it'll actually encourage tourists to learn more about it. Here's Derek Rogers.
Rob Saltz lives right next to a bloody Lucan legend.
Tom's body was found right here, right where we're standing. This is where Tom's body was found.
Saltz lives on the former Donnelly homestead, where on the night of February 4th, 1880, 4 members of the infamous family were brutally murdered by a mob after a long-running feud. Another member of the family was killed on the same night not far away. Saltz says this story has it all.
It has love, hatred, murder, justice denied, betrayal.
Over 125 years have passed since the Donnelly murders, and yet the public's fascination endures. This is the Donnelly gravesite, where people have planted flowers, they still leave coins, and they chip away at the headstone looking for souvenirs.
It was a dark day in our community when this happened.
For years, Lucan residents simply wouldn't talk about the killings. It was too raw a topic for many in this close-knit community.
Joe.
Today, a sign that residents were not only ready to talk about the massacre, but acknowledge its place in Lucan's history. Shovels hit the ground for the new Lucan Heritage and Donnelly Museum. Mayor Tom McLaughlin is a descendant of one of the 6 people charged but later acquitted in the Donnelly killings. He hopes the museum will boost the town's economy, but he says the incident is nothing to celebrate or sensationalize.
I hope that we can do with this museum is tell it in a compassionate way for the Donnellys, for the families involved in that type of thing. And I'm not one that wants to sensationalize it, but I think it's important that we tell the story right.
Construction of the museum is expected to be completed this fall with a grand opening in the spring. And for Rob Saltz, it's about time.
Let's learn about this. This is what happened. This is what makes our village a village.
In Lucan, Derek Rogers, 8 Channel News.
A British Columbia man has been formally charged with the murders of his 3 children. Alan Schoenborn faces 3 counts of first-degree murder. The bodies of the 2 boys and 1 girl were found in their home northeast of Vancouver earlier this month. Their 40-year-old father was on the run for 10 days before being found in the woods by a resident walking his dog. A public memorial service for 10-year-old Caitlin, 8-year-old Max, and 5-year-old Corden will be held this weekend.
Well, another reminder to be careful when using your bank cards. Police say at least 90 people are the latest victims of debit card fraud, and they're out tens of thousands of dollars. Some victims say they don't even know their cash is gone until they get a call from the bank. Police say fraudsters are daring, too, meddling with ATMs right inside banks. Thieves are using hidden cameras and false fronts to nab your card information. So a reminder from police, guard your PIN number. ATM skimming fraud has cost banks an estimated $106 million this year alone.
It was a horrifying scene in India. An elephant rampaged through a Hindu temple in southern India, killing 3 people, including one of its handlers. The adult male knocked down a thatched awning, tried to batter its way through a steel gate, and finally trampled a man. Police say the elephant was being used during a ceremony at a festival.
Doctors say a Vietnamese girl with a 16-pound tumor on her face could suffocate unless it's removed. They plan a 10-hour surgery in Miami next week on this little girl. The tumor has been growing for 12 years now and has prevented the girl from ever attending school. Now, if this surgery is successful, the child should be able to return to Vietnam in about 6 weeks.
Proof tonight that more of us are buying cars that don't come from this continent. Coming up, the ever-changing face of the auto industry.
And straight ahead on Health and Home, food and fertility. Why what a woman eats may help determine the sex of her baby.
Stupid dad, idiot!
Are you tired of the crying?
They're beyond control.
Yelling.
Stop it!
And the fighting.
Felt good.
You can't keep going like this. Do not fear. Super Nanny is here.
Hello!
She is every parent's dream come true.
Thank God she's here.
And every child's worst nightmare.
We are going to learn discipline correctly.
An all-new Super Nanny, 9 tonight on HM.
The rivers of southwestern Ontario are biological treasures. The Sydenham, Thames, and Asaba rivers are home to rare species of mussels, fish, snakes, and turtles. Some, like the northern riffle shell, are endangered worldwide. 30 aquatic species are currently at risk. What we do on land affects the water and creatures in it. Conservation helps create healthy rivers. For more information on grants for landowners to help species at risk, contact your local conservation authority.
A few spotty showers last night and early this morning. However, they're now to the east, and so we are looking for some clear skies. However, we have some unsettled weather to talk about when we take a look at your 7-day planner.
For entertainment, dining, and travel, get en route.
Enjoy River Valley year-round. Our golf course is opening soon with a Monday to Thursday special. 18 holes plus cart, only $25. River Valley Golf, just north of London off Highway 7.
Victoria Playhouse Petrolia brings you another exciting season full of laughs, music, and good times. Subscribe now. 5 dynamic shows for just $130.
See it, do it, get it, en route.
Health Minister George Smitherman says helping Ontario's growing population of seniors stay at home will be one of his top priorities. In a speech today, the Health Minister laid out the government's health care plan for the next 4 years. Highlights include a strategy to reduce the number of visits to emergency rooms, better management of chronic diseases such as diabetes, improved community-based mental health and addiction treatment facilities, and more home care.
This is $1.1 billion of additional government resource starting this year and building over the next 3 years that's going to dramatically enhance our capacity to support seniors as they age, to age in the place where they prefer to age, which is their home.
Early detection may be the key to surviving breast cancer. So what if finding out you had it could be as simple as going to the dentist? Could happen.
Jack is 5 days old.
Risa Ott is in awe of this little guy. She cherishes the new life. It wasn't long ago her own life was threatened by cancer.
It takes the wind out of your sails and you don't want to die.
Risa had a double mastectomy. Now she's cancer-free. But her story's not unusual. 1 in 8 women will battle breast cancer in her lifetime. And the battle against the disease has become personal for Charles Streckfus.
Cancer essentially wiped out my family. We have Yeah, my mother and father were killed back to back with cancer and left my sister orphaned. So it's somewhat of a grudge match.
That's why he's developing a test to catch breast cancer that can be given at the dentist's office. His idea is as simple as chewing gum.
It's very, very simple. It's extremely inexpensive. So you just chew it at a regular, basis, and then just spit into the cup. And when after 5 minutes, we take the cup and determine what constituents are in it.
Saliva from the gum is applied to a gold-plated chip. A laser will give immediate results. Researchers at the University of Texas identified 49 specific protein markers that provide non-invasive diagnosis of benign and malignant breast tumors.
When an individual has cancer, a lot of the proteins are altered in the saliva, so it could be a good bellwether instrument for presence of disease.
Dr. Streckfus warns the test is an early detection device, not a replacement for mammograms, ultrasounds, or biopsies. But any woman who's had breast cancer knows the earlier it's detected, the better.
I don't have mammograms anymore. So, for me to be able to be proactive and chew a piece of gum and to have someone say, Risa, you're clear. Oh, talk about peace of mind.
So now her mind can be on how others, even the animals, are feeling.
Hey, how are you?
And the diagnostic device is now being developed to be installed in dentist offices. The saliva test could also be used to detect ovarian, endometrial, cervical, and head and neck cancer. Well, we've all done it, made a mistake while performing a repetitive task. Now research has uncovered a pattern of activity across 2 regions of the brain that occurs up to 30 seconds before some, but not all, errors are made. The findings counter the popular view that human error is simply a function of brain blips, and they raise the possibility of brain monitoring techniques to boost individual safety by warning of imminent mistakes. It seems you are what your mother eats. British research is pointing to a link between a woman's diet before conception and whether she has a boy or a girl. Having a hearty appetite, eating potassium-rich foods, including bananas, and not skipping breakfast seem to raise the odds of having a boy. Researchers found women who had boys ate about 400 calories more daily than those who had girls. One fertility specialist says it just may be that it takes more nutrients to build boys than girls.
My mom always liked bananas.
Well, I was thinking too. I mean, I have 2 boys and thinking back to, what did I eat?
Exactly. All right, thank you, Jan.
Paul's making a little pad thai noodles for a taste for life. Show you how to do it because the money's going to the AIDS Committee of London. That's tonight on 8 Channel.
In 24 hours, you can make a difference in the life of a child. By participating in 24 hours of family activities and challenging team events, you'll not only have a day to remember, you'll also help to promote the healthy development of children, families, and communities. On June 7th and 8th, be a part of the Labatt 24-hour relay in support of the Children's Aid Society. To register your team, call 519-434-2447 or visit labatt24hourrelay.ca and see how your 24 hours can make a difference in the life of a child.
One of the ways that I've come to view my job as being that of a deaf educator. A number of years ago, a family referred to me as just that. They said, Paul, you're a wonderful deaf educator. So I've come to view each funeral arrangement, each funeral service that I conduct as an opportunity to educate families with respect to a funeral, why we have funerals, and how that service can benefit them as their life unfolds.
At Sunships, our philosophy is that even the smallest wave can make a positive change. We believe that you can feel good while eating snacks that you love. That's why we make every bag with a delicious blend of 100% whole grain corn, wheat, and oat flour with 0 trans fat in every serving. Plus, feel confident knowing that you're enjoying a great tasting snack that's made with real ingredients like cheddar cheese. Start small. Start with the goodness of whole grains in Sunships.
Do the math.
Not that we needed it, but a new survey proves the problem motorists are facing at the gas pumps. The average price of regular now sits around $1.23 a litre almost everywhere in Canada. That's up almost 5 cents from a week ago and is just 3 cents below the all-time record set shortly after Hurricane Katrina.
And it's another sign of the changing times in the automotive industry. Stats Canada says for the first time, the traditional big three, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, no longer control the majority of the market for North American-built passenger cars. Now, StatsCan reports the Canadian market share of the big three fell to 49.1% last year. Now, as recently as 7 years ago, those three car makers accounted for almost 68% of vehicles sold. By contrast, Asian and European-based automakers have passed the 50% mark.
And it's not just the auto sector that's changing. 170,000 manufacturing jobs have been lost in Ontario over the past year. While some communities are doing their best just to keep their heads above water, others are actually finding ways to attract new industry. Scott Miller has the tale of two area towns.
Mike Broomhead and Linda Reeder are getting ready to celebrate the arrival of another manufacturing plant to Mount Forest. The Wellington County town is running out of industrial land. There is so much demand.
That we're positioned in the right place at the right time. There's a lot of growth happening in southern Ontario. Can't find places to grow anymore. So they're coming out here, and we're just over the Greenbelt. And I think we're just located, perfectly.
A 2-hour drive away in the municipality of South Huron, Mayor Ken Oak would love to have that problem. The recent closure of the Can Grow plant has Oak wondering if it's time to reopen the old Centralia College building to retrain laid-off employees.
As you can see, we have a modern college here sitting vacant, and to me this is an excellent place that people from Huron County can be trained or retrained.
As much as Ken Oak would like to see the entire college reopened again, he knows that probably isn't realistic. He is really just hoping to get a few classrooms opened up. He knows that that would cost a whole lot less money and would be able to happen much quicker. Two things he hopes will entice the province to jump on board. Chris Meyer already loves the idea. He heads up Huron County's Manufacturing Association.
People will go where the opportunities are, and when they have to move to the city to get that training right after high school, we do find that a certain number of people will not return back to Huron County.
Retrained employees would also help the folks in Mount Forest, who for the time being have more jobs than people to fill them, a problem many communities are jealous of.
We've kept our cost to a minimum, our land prices are well, but I think we promote ourselves well.
In Midwestern Ontario, Scott Miller, 8 Channel News.
A new study on plummeting enrollment in Ontario schools says there are 300 half-empty schools on the chopping block. The report was issued today in Stratford by the group People for Education. Now, it says lower birth rates simply means fewer students. The study says that's forcing school boards to look at closing schools, affecting 100,000 students. The organization wants the province to come up with a long-term strategy to help smaller schools stay open and become community hubs. Well, Premier McGuinty says it's a mistake, though, to simply judge our province's education system by the number of schools.
I think we built as many schools in our first 4 years as schools, in fact, closed in Ontario. Obviously, we are putting one heck of a lot more money into public education.
Second round bound. The Stanley Cup playoffs take a new shape with a blast from the past. The details ahead in sports.
Well, with a real taste of spring during the past couple of weeks, a lot of folks getting out and hitting some golf balls. This is a picture of Sally, sent in by Ken McTaggart. As you can see, she's been hitting it up. Hold it. What's this down here? Maybe that's the next one that she's going to be hitting out on that golf course. High temperature today, 22 degrees. A little lower than we have had as far as the record, but certainly well above normal. The same with our 12 degrees for the low temperature last night. A little cooler and a little more unsettled on the 7-day planner. I'll have that for you right after this short break.
Mondays on 8 Channel. One big night, 4 big comedies. With The Big Bang Theory.
Hola, nerd amigos.
The New Adventures of Old Christine.
Help me be a woman again.
2.5 Men. And finally,
I have amnesia.
remember Samantha?
Who am I?
She doesn't.
It's like I'm freaking out.
But a little amnesia won't stop her. Samantha Who. Big laughs on a big night. It all starts Monday at 8 on 8 Channel.
If you're in a race to get dinner, we've got your pizza, hot and ready. No need to call ahead. Our medium $5 pepperoni pizza is always hot out of the oven, ready when you are. Little Caesars Hot and Ready Pizza. The race is on, and the wait is over.
You do anything for your kids. The Ontario Child Benefit is one way to help make it a little easier. If you have children and are in a low-income family, you may qualify. To get it, you need to file your income taxes.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Direct Energy Home Services. With summer approaching, do you know who to call for your home cooling needs? Don't pay for a year with the purchase of a new air conditioner. Call us today for details.
You're watching A Channel.
Well, the golfers just loving Jay this spring. Another gorgeous day to be out there knocking the balls around. And Jay, how long is this kind of weather going to last?
Well, spring-like weather is going to stay with us for a little while, but it's not quite as warm as we've talked about, and we haven't really seen some rain showers for the last little while. Maybe we can remedy that in the not-too-distant future. Actually, as we head into Atlantic Canada, you can find 10 degrees in through Halifax. Now, in through New Brunswick tonight, they're looking for perhaps even some freezing rain. You can see the cooler air that is starting to dig into the northern part of New Brunswick. And, of course, -2, the current temperature in through St. John's. They're up and down all the time anyway. Across the Canadian prairies, and we have been the last couple of days been watching how Winnipeg is on the warm side, but that cooler air is starting to move into the Winnipeg area. They too are looking for some snow overnight tonight. That could be coming in with the cold air that continues to be right across the Canadian prairies. 11 degrees in Vancouver. We do have a low pressure system that is approaching. It's going to be cool and wet in through the west, the extreme west over the next couple of days. Here's the front that came through last night. We had a chance of some showers along it. Actually, we did even see a thunder shower in through parts of midwestern Ontario as that came through, and now a very weak ridge, and then we have another system that continues to have a couple of little waves along the front. As that continues to develop, that is going to bring that snow into the Winnipeg area. It's not there yet, but you can see it starting to develop just in through North Dakota. We have comparatively clear skies, but we will watch that system as it approaches our area. Let's take a closer look at the Great Lakes Basin. There go the scattered showers. That's now history. Comparatively clear skies, and here's the one that we're watching that is off to the west. So as we take a look at our forecast then, that weak ridge will dominate overnight tonight. The system continues to develop, and there really are several low-pressure systems that will develop along that front. As they approach, it just brings more unsettled weather into our area, and eventually just a little bit cooler as those low-pressure systems continue to the northeast, but they do have an eastward swing on them. So lots of sunshine tomorrow, 21 degrees, 22 on Friday, but here come some of the showers that we'll be looking for. By Saturday, a breezy day, starting to turn just a little bit cooler, and then as we head into Sunday, 17 degrees, back into some sunshine, but then unsettled next week, as you can see, with a chance of showers. This isn't a great probability, but 11, 10, and 11 degrees with some chances of showers each of those days. Notice on Tuesday, a low temperature of +1. Midwestern Ontario, 20 degrees for the next couple of days, increasing the chances of some showers, particularly on Friday. And then as we head into Saturday, breezy, 15, and then 14 on Sunday, but at least some sunshine. And then the unsettled weather for early part of next week, 9 and 8 degrees, and -1 in through Midwestern Ontario on Tuesday. But that just spring-like weather we're returning to, Kathy.
Still good golfing weather for the most part.
I think so.
All right, thanks, Jay.
You're welcome.
All right, Janice joins us now with more on a Tasty initiative. 29 restaurants participating, and what a great cause.
Oh, that's right. For the AIDS Committee of London, they've raised over $100,000, Dan, for the last few years. It is year number 5 for A Taste for Life, where a portion of each meal served will help support people in our community living with HIV. The popular fundraiser offers lots of choice, from Greek food at Santorini to Caribbean cuisine at Jambalaya. You can dine around the world for a great cause. It's the sizzle and it's the smell of delicious tandoori chicken here at the Jewel of India. Now, 25% of the sale of this tonight will be going towards the AIDS Committee of London for the special Taste for Life fundraiser. They'll sell a lot of their tandoori chicken, which they cook in a 500-degree clay oven, then saute it with onions. It's served with melt-in-your-mouth naan bread, cooked in the same oven.
And this is the red curry. It's bamboo shoots, onions.
At the Typhoon restaurant, they'll turn the tables twice for their sweet peanut chicken with the secret sauce, pad thai noodles, and crispy Chiang Mai.
I decided to hop on board last year. This is my second year, and I can't wait. It's fantastic. Last year was a great turnout, and we're booked again for this year. Taste
for Life has caught on big time here at Aroma Restaurant, where they specialize in Mediterranean cuisine. They're sold out tonight. At Under the Volcano, it's first come, first serve. Amici Italian restaurant is booked solid. And if you're vegetarian, here at the Zen Gardens, they're also part of Taste for Life. Sushi hand rolls, delicious.
We got a Thai wrap, 2 clubs, and 2 beef salads, please.
The Braywick is also sold out. Chefs have been busy all day making hundreds of their signature flatbreads. Bake it 6 minutes aside, and then it's on your table here at the Braywick Bistro for Taste for Life.
You can decorate it with all kinds of stuff. You can make it Middle Eastern, you can make it North American, just a matter of what you put on top.
They're also known for their pad thai with glass noodles and shrimp delicately seasoned by Chef Paul Rosum.
You don't want to season it right now. Usually I would, but you'll die of salt. I don't want that to happen. A taste of life, not a taste of salt.
Fundraising customers book early for the Braywick sweet potato sticks. They'll sell at least 25 pad thais tonight. A win-win for the restaurants and the AIDS Committee of London. You got that right. So first come, first serve. You're just going to have to go from restaurant to restaurant to see if you can get in tonight. Well, Orchestra London captures all 4 seasons this evening at St. Paul's Cathedral. Concertmaster Joseph Lanza is featured in the... Concertmaster Joseph Lanza is featured in the final concert of the Cathedral series with Vivaldi's 4 Seasons, which he says is about the celebration of the seasons through music. Dan and Mary Lou Smoke from First Nations represent the winter season. They'll be singing 3 traditional ceremonial songs. The storytellers are part of the narrated musical trip around the world. Showtime tonight at the Cathedral is 8 o'clock.
There's just something about the acoustics in there, too.
What a gorgeous place to have a concert.
All right, thank you.
Hello there. For the Leafs, Burke won't work. I'll tell you why. Plus, the Wings brace for those pesky old abs. And 100 years strong, wood is still good for an area bat maker. The story and more next in sports.
On the last 8-Channel Morning.
Nothing fuels a child's imagination like simple classic toys. These ones from Inquisitive Kids Design. Whoa, what? Now where's the fairy princess gonna live? Nice one. Mom, Steve wrecked my blocks. Coming up Thursday on 8-Channel Morning, we'll check out the new spring menu of On the Fork, including dessert called the 7 Deadly Sins. You know that's going to be good. Also, another edition of Reading is Cool takes us to Exeter. Join us live at 7.
It's time to play the Heart and Stroke Lottery with the best odds ever, 1 in 3. Are you ready to win?
That's right, Bill. The Heart and Stroke Lottery has 3 grand prizes of $1 million. Millions more and exciting prizes. The best odds ever, 1 in 3. And when you support life-saving heart and stroke research, everybody wins.
With the best odds ever, 1 in 3. Are you ready to win? Call 1-888-551-1111 now.
Have a seat, please.
What would happen if you asked your bank to reduce its profit on your mortgage? Now ask LIBRO the same question. Show us your mortgage, and we'll gladly reduce our profit by showing you how to save thousands and thousands of dollars. LIBRO, for liberated banking and an open invitation to reduce our mortgage profit.
How do you make your truck your truck? You choose $1,000 worth of no extra charge genuine Ford accessories and transform it during the custom truck event only at your Ontario Ford store.
Let's back to the drawing board for the Leafs in their hunt for a GM. Nor?
That's going to be interesting, guys. It looks like the Leafs will need to change the direction of their search for a general manager because the guy said to be at the top of their list, that man is staying in Southern California. The Canadian Press reports Brian Burke will remain as GM in Anaheim for the 2008-2009 season. After that, his contract expires. Burke says he works for the best owners in sports in Henry and Susan Samueli. Meanwhile, the Vancouver Canucks have hired former NHLer and player agent Mike Gillis to be their general manager. Gillis replaced the recently fired Dave Nonis. Never mind Alex Ovechkin, Joffrey Lupul is the man we'll remember from the Caps Flyers series. Well, he and the officials, after Washington was given a penalty in overtime, Lupul broke the hearts of Capitals fans, scoring on the ensuing power play, ending the series. The Flyers take it in 7 games, finally halting the Capitals' impressive run that's been going on over a month now. So 6 seeds Philadelphia gets #1 Montreal Game 1 tomorrow night at the Rock and Bell Center. Next to San Jose, we're Owen Nolan trying to take his former club off the score sheet. Scores on a breakaway, 2-1, Calgary. From one wily vet to another, Jeremy Roenick, pointless through 6 games of the series. He went nuts last night, picking up 4 points, including the game-tying goal. Then Sharks power play, and Roenick feeling it. Scores his second of the game on a second try. San Jose in front with that. Calgary then flames out. Christian Ehrhoff sends the puck in front of his own net. That's a bad move. Joe Pavelski buries it. 5-3 Sharks. They eliminate the Flames in 7. So it'll be San Jose and Dallas in round 2. Joe Thornton a goal last night, 7 points in the playoffs. So we are second round bound. Action gets going tomorrow night. Those Red Wings were put to the test against Nashville. Wonder what they have in store for us against rival Colorado. Detroit won 4 straight over the Avs during the regular season, shutting them out 3 times. In terms of the playoffs, the Wings and Avs haven't faced each other since 2002. A few players from those old heated series are still around and ready to renew the rivalry.
We're looking for get that rivalry reinvigorated, and this is a good opportunity for us. And still some old faces from those old rivalries.
Everybody's looking for a story, and the big story is you got 2 great hockey clubs trying to move on further.
They got a great leader in Joe Sakic, and I'm not going to pat them on the back anymore because I don't want them to feel too good about themselves.
And a former Knight Patrick Kane and his Blackhawks teammate Jonathan Toews are up for the NHL's top rookie award. Same for Washington's Nick Backstrom. Kane led all rookies with 72 points, Backstrom with second with 69 points, and Toews third with 54 points. Our under-18 hockey team laid it down on the host Russians today, winning the gold medal game in convincing fashion, 8-0. Regina Pats forward Jordan Eberle scored twice. 6 others chipped in, including Spitz super rookie Taylor Hall, scoring his 4th of the tournament. Jake Allen of St. John's from the Quebec League picked up the shutout, helping Canada win its 2nd under-18 World Championship. OHL Final Four tonight. The top seeds can knock off their conference opponents with home ice wins. If the Bulls beat Oshawa, they'll hoist the Bobby Orr Trophy. The Rangers need 1 more victory over the Sioux to claim the Gretzky Trophy. Well, 100 years. How can anyone comprehend a time frame that long? Well, through history, legacy, and change. It's what's kept an area baseball bat maker going since 1908, and as long as wood is good, the future is just as solid. Ah, the crack of the bat. To most baseball people, there's no sweeter sound, but perhaps one. For a guy like Paul, the only thing better than the sound of the bat doing its job is the sound of the bat while he's doing his. Paul is a special lathe operator at KR3 Custom Bats in Cambridge. His work might look nothing more than repetitive, but to Paul, he's making art. that's changing the game one piece at a time.
I would say the biggest part of it would be the quality of the wood.
Doug Hamill is the main man on the floor. He's there when billets made of maple, blue ash, hickory, and wood arrive from a secret location. And he's there when another batch of slick beauties is dipped, deckled, then departs. It's about sharing KR3's Major League quality with everyone, except the major leagues.
We've basically designed our factory to be a pro shop for amateur players, and we have top amateur teams all over Canada using our bats. I'm not sure whether or not we would seek out Major League approval or not at this point.
You know, the KR3 brand name has only been around since 1999, but they've been making bats here at this North Cambridge location since the 1930s. And the company's history is even richer than that. You have to go back even further and a little closer to home to find out where it all began. It's fitting that KR3's roots trace back to the home of baseball in Canada. A century ago, St. Mary's Wood Specialties on James Street began producing bats for use by amateurs and pros alike. Decades later, this is it, still doing what it does best. Last year to the tune of almost 30,000 bats.
To be able to carry on that history and that tradition of making baseball bats is what we're most centered on.
From the factory in Cambridge into the hands of baseball players across the country, around the world, and right here in London. And those members of the London Tecumseh's Pee-wees swing specially made KR3 bats tomorrow on 8 Channel News at 6. Why the kids who've traditionally used aluminum bats are going the way of wood. Big league ball tonight. Center fielder Curtis Granderson finally back from that broken hand. He's in the lineup as the Tigers host Texas. The Jays continue things at the Disney complex with Tampa Bay. Roy Halladay takes the hill for the Birds. NBA playoffs, the second seed Pistons will try to bounce back from that shocking Game 1 loss to 7th seed Philadelphia. As well, the number 1 team out of the East, the Celtics, lead number 8 Atlanta one game to none. Game 2 tonight in Boston. In LA, the top seed Lakers clash with number 8 Denver. Let's flash back again. Those Raptors trail the Magic 2 games to none, losing Game 2 last night in Orlando by a single point. The Raps could have won it. Chris Bosh took what would have been the game-winning shot. His time expired. All he hit was iron. Game 3 tomorrow night in Toronto. That's going to do it for sports right now. Dan Cathy, back to you.
All right, we'll see you later. Thanks, Norm.
Nice job, Norm. Well, the Mickey Mouse icon has certainly proven golden for Disney Studios over the years, but how about a Mickey made of real gold?
The top jewelry maker in Japan has done just that. The 1 kilogram golden statue is worth about $31,000.
But the statue will not go on sale. Instead, it will be presented to a lucky purchaser of Disney's latest DVD in a draw to take place next month.
That
Imagine.
Great. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Have that on your mantle at home, eh?
There you go. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for yours.
Good night.
Selected men's fashions provided by Channer's Men's and Ladies Apparel.